Each collectible in the Smobs Starter Pack was actually made using the CollectibleMod. The CollectibleMod allows you to turn any object into a collectible. The CollectibleMod can be found within the Container Mod folder. Since it's a container mod, it has a container nested inside, and whatever is put in this container gets turned into a collectible. At the top of the script is a message that says the tag manager must include the player tag. If I click on the tag manager's drop-down list at the top of my inspector, you can see that it does include the player tag. If yours does not, you'll need to click the add tag option at the bottom of the list in order to add it. Let's go over the user prefs. If you hover your cursor over the words hover me, you'll see some useful information which tells you how to adjust the CollectibleMod. I'll go over with you during a demonstration a little later. Show on startup makes the object visible when the game starts. Animation on makes the object spin while bobbing up and down. Next is the controller section, which is optional. If you want to use a collectible controller, just drag the collectible controller into this field. You can find the collectible controllers in the utilities folder. The next section is the special effects section, which is also optional. Sound effects is the audio file that will be played when the collectible is collected. If you don't want a sound to be played, just make sure this field is blank. Particle effects is the particle system that will be played when the collectible is collected. If you don't want any particle effects, just make sure this field is blank. Particles Y offset allows you to move the particle effect upward or downward. It helps to ensure that the particle effects are right where you need them to be. If set to 0, then the particle system will be created at the center of the CollectibleMod's sphere collider. There are 3 events. Collected happens as soon as the object is collected. Hidden happens anytime the object becomes hidden. And shown happens anytime the object becomes visible. Let me give you a simple demonstration. I'll create a 3D cube and I'll position it at world center. The goal is to turn this simple cube into a collectible. As a collectible, the cube is a little big for my taste, so I'm going to go ahead and scale it down just a little bit. And then I'll raise it up so that it's hovering above the ground. Also, since we'll be running through the cube, I'm going to delete its box collider component. Next, I'll navigate to the Container Mods folder and I'll drop in a container mod into my scene. I'll want to make sure that it's positioned at world center so that it's right where my cube is. Then I'm going to expand it in the hierarchy in order to access the container. Remember, all container mods have a container. Anything that gets put inside the container becomes modified. In this case, it becomes something that can be collected. So I'll go ahead and drag the cube into the container. Now let's select the container mod itself and make sure the sphere collider is expanded to see whether or not I need to adjust it. If I need to raise it or lower it, I can just edit the center Y value as needed, which will raise it up or down. And if my object that I want to collect is big, like really big, then I can change the radius as well. It looks okay where it is right now, so let's test it out. As you can see, we've successfully turned the cube into a collectible. Pretty easy, right? Anything you drop into the CollectibleMods container becomes a collectible. You just have to make sure that you have them positioned properly.